Hello everybody, and welcome back to Occult Perspectives. I've got a little surprise for you for the beginning of this video. We've got a special guest for the first minute or so. Welcome, Christopher. Say hi, Chris.
I have a jiggly belly.
This is my fiance's son and soon-to-be stepson of mine. So he's an awesome little dude. I think he's getting hyper on some sweet tea right now, maybe.
Yeah, go get some Milo sweet tea.
Yeah, they were at Kroger. They were sampling it, and the dude just gave me a gallon for free. So I thought that was cool, and that's how we got to try it. So
Yeah.
Milo sweet tea, go check it out.
Yeah, and there's some YouTubers.
Who do you want to give a shout out to?
Zach Scott. He plays Mario games
Heck yeah.
and Zelda and stuff, and he also plays Sonic, and then he also plays some spooky games.
Heck yeah. So he's a gamer dude.
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
he's cool. You should go check him out.
Heck yeah. Anything else you want to say?
And I'm gonna have YouTube in a couple years. A YouTube channel in a couple years.
Yeah, I'll let you know on my channel when his channel gets started.
Yeah.
So
And I like his hat.
it's gonna be a big up and coming thing.
And
yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I'm 9, and I like. Yeah, and you should go check out The Amazing World of Gumball on Hulu too.
This is the video game expert right here.
Yeah.
What's that show called? Gumball?
The Amazing World of Gumball.
Yeah, that show's pretty funny.
And
it's got some esoteric stuff, so those of you who like this channel should like it.
And another YouTuber that I also like is, I don't know.
Did you have a brain fart?
Yeah.
I know you like lots of YouTubers. It's hard to remember them all.
Yeah. Go read the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books.
It's a good series.
Yeah, it's in. He's rude. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And one more thing.
One more thing.
I am Christopher.
Christopher, and his middle name is Sage, and that means wise man.
And Burgess is at the end.
Burgess is his last
I'm
name.
pretty sure Christopher, it means like carrying people in boxes across the bridge.
Does it?
Yeah, I searched it up on Google.
It's probably got some other meanings besides that, too.
Oh.
Because a lot of names, they have multiple meanings, so. Yep.
Okay, and YouTube is cool.
Shout out to YouTube.
Yeah. Last thing, you gotta go check out his other videos too.
Yeah, give me a subscribe and click the like button if you like the videos.
Yeah.
That way we can do more.
And click the bell.
The bell for new notifications.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And become a member.
Yes. Of Occult Perspectives.
Wait, what?
That's my channel's name.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's Tyler. And that's some modern magic right
Yep, I have quoted this book quite a bit on this channel, and I'm about to jump into it again for this video.
I'm gonna jump in sometimes in this video, so if you guys like Christopher, you'll be seeing me in a couple of years in my own YouTube.
He's a pretty fly guy, so you gotta check him out.
But I will do some horror games too, so if you're scared of horror games, don't watch my videos.
It'll be too scary for
But
you.
I still play Mario and stuff. And read books.
Alrighty, we're about 5 minutes in almost, man. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and.
Okay. Another shout out to.
One more shout out.
2 more.
2 more.
SpongeBob and.
Patrick.
Hold on. I'll come back for the shout out later. Bye.
Sounds good. Christopher's gonna make another appearance later on in this
and
video.
go get some Milo's tea.
Alrighty.
Scooby-Doo too.
Yeah, I'm gonna close the door, but when you want to come back in, just pop on in. Alrighty, that was Mr. Christopher there with his awesome inputs. I'm going to try to leave off exactly where I did in the last video that we were talking about the Kabbalah in this book, Modern Magic. If you have a copy of the book at home and you're able to follow along, I will be starting on page 65. While it is true that there were mystery schools in Egypt, in fact, Pythagoras studied at one, there is no proof that the Kabbalah is taken directly from the wisdom of Egypt. However, it is likely that the Kabbalah was influenced by the spiritual systems of ancient India, Egypt, Babylon, etc. And then, let's see... Here, if you want to say something real quick, because I gotta find the next spot in this anyway.
I just remembered the shout out. Pop-Tarts. Oh, yeah. People are cool.
Yes. Well, dang, man. Better out than in, I always say.
Yeah, I think this is mine coming. Oh, I didn't hang this up.
Okay, I'm gonna keep reading here though.
Okay.
This is where we get to two books on the Kabbalah. The main ones, there's the Book of Splendor, it's called the Sefer Zohar, and the Sefer Yetzirah, that's the Book of Formation. So the Book of Formation, Sefer Yetzirah, the Book of Splendor, Sefer HaZohar. And so it was that the mystical secrets of the Kabbalah were kept for hundreds of years by the Hebrew priesthood, but the common Hebrew man and woman did not learn the lesson of the Decalogue and the other laws which God had intended them to learn. Thus God punished the people of Israel over and over until the destruction of the Second Temple. Rome had ordered the destruction and had wanted rabble-rousers and freedom-loving troublemakers rounded up. One of these sounds similar to Jesus when they all went after him. One of these was a rabbi named Simeon Ben. He managed to evade the Romans by hiding with his son in a cave for 13 years. There's a special meaning in the number 13, which will be revealed later in this course. In the cave, these two learned men wrote down the secrets of the Kabbalah for the first time in a large set of books titled Sefer HaZohar, as we were just saying, or the Zohar, Book of Splendor, and the small Sefer Yetzirah, the Book of Formation. Later, when publishing became practical, these books became available to people all over the world. Okay. And the whole idea of like going into a cave and kind of, getting away from society, that whole, for a lot of masters, people who are on a spiritual path, there seems to be a time that you may have to retreat from society if you are really seeking to elevate yourself to that next level of consciousness and the next stage of your journey. Sometimes you really do have to just go into the woods or go into a cave and meditate for a really long time, and you come out a master. There's many ways of doing this, but the cave story is one of those. And if you haven't checked out the allegory of the cave, that's like a whole Plato thing, I believe. That's really powerful as well. So moving on. Did not do a very good job of writing in my notes where these spots are in the book that I wanted to touch on. Here we go. The earliest form of Hebrew occultism. Here we'll go back a little bit more. The earliest known forms of Hebrew mysticism, not counting earlier shamanistic forms that seem to exist in all primitive tribes and societies, was not even called Kabbalah. The earliest form of Hebrew occultism was known as Heckalot, not sure if I'm saying that right, which means ascent. It is also known as Merkabah Mysticism, and Merkabah is a term that kind of keeps coming up in my researches and stuff. With operations such as the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram and the Hexagram rituals and all this, this kind of creates like an energetic Merkabah around your body, which after you die and stuff, all the accumulated energy, instead of returning directly back to source and being recycled, it kind of keeps your energetic body together and such, so that you can traverse those other planes of existence, you know, after the physical death. The Merkabah was the name of the throne of God in Hebrew, and it was the aim of the Merkabah mystics to be able to see God upon his throne. Unfortunately, most of the writings of the Merkabah writers have been lost, so that full knowledge of their techniques is impossible. Continue forward a little bit. I thought this was interesting. From the fragments of Merkabah mysticism that still remain, it is assumed that the actual practices of these mystics involved astral travel through a series of 7 places or planes by way of certain passwords, talismans, and secret signs while in a state of self-induced trance, possibly via self-hypnosis, physical duress, psychoactive drugs, or extended periods of sex. So yeah, this whole idea of passwords and secret signs should sound familiar to those who are in any fraternity or anything like that. But these are guardians that you meet on the astral plane, this certain practice that they're talking about here, which I thought was really, really interesting. The palaces and guardians are explained. I'll go ahead and read that in just a second. And then it goes on to explain that more research is needed. This is an example of very advanced and specialized magic that I'm going to read on real quick. I just thought it was more interesting than anything. The names of each of the guards at each of the 7 palaces had to be known so that they could be appeased in some way. Unfortunately, the knowledge of those appeasement methods is also currently lost or unknown. Although this has not been one of my interests, it is my hope that some intrepid individual or group does some spiritual and astral investigations and recovers the lost information. Perhaps it will be one of the people reading these lessons. And that's another reason why I like to transfer knowledge and share knowledge, is because you never know, one day somebody who's watching one of my videos, or you know, if you write a book or you do any other presentation on this kind of information, you never know when somebody might take that and run with it, and that really helps them on their own personal journey. To whet your appetite and to make this search easier, here for the first time in any popular course or publication to my knowledge are the correct names of the guardians that are known from the fragments of the book. Can't even pronounce that. And then it tells you of these 7 palaces, and at each one, like for the first at the first palace, for instance, it has all these different names of beings, and I none of these seem really familiar. Same with the second palace. Really, all of them, they're very similar to angel names. Like here's Tagriel, Matpiel, this is the second palace I'm reading here, Sarhiel, Arfiel, Satriel, Regael, and Saheviel. Yeah, they're very similar to like archangel names, but I'm not recognizing any of these beings. Yeah, I'm not really. The 7th palace, for this place there were 2 sets of names. They were described as one set for ascending and one for descending, the meaning of which is unclear. My guess is that different names were used to enter and exit this palace. What's up?
Book.
Book?
Book.
Is this something you want to share?
Yeah, but yeah, you can do videos about it. I don't know what it's about. It looks like something you like.
Yeah, I got my plate pretty full with all this stuff back here behind me, but let's check out what Christopher's got here. It's called A Dog's Life by Anne M. Martin. Squirrel, is the name of the dog, is not like most dogs. Born astray, she must make her own way in the world, facing busy highways, changing seasons, and humans both gentle and brutal. Her life story, in her own words, is marked by loss, but also by an inspiring instinct to survive. And when it seems she will roam the woods and country roads alone forever, Squirrel makes 2 friends who, in very different ways, define her fate. At once heart-rending and hopeful, Anne Martin's exquisite story of a dog's life is told with her trademark grace and insight. So yeah, a dog's journey. And there, look, there's the moon, the crescent moon up in the corner. So they're putting a little bit of esoteric imagery in there. So yeah, maybe that'll inspire somebody to go. You want to show that too?
What?
Christmas ornament?
Yeah.
Check out this Christmas ornament he made. It almost looks like a Templar cross or something. It's like red in the background with a blue cross with little crosses on the ends too. So that's pretty neat. Thanks for sharing, man. Anything else? I'm gonna keep on trucking.
Okay, I have one more thing. I'm gonna
What's
just
up?
leave this in here.
Go right ahead.
And that was already in here. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, if those names that I was discussing before, I don't know if you want to pause the video, if you can read any of those names, the beings that are listed there. Probably not. It's probably not quite bright enough if you feel like pausing that and trying to read any of those.
Yeah, right.
Is that a Wally?
No, it's not.
Kind of looks like Wally though. It's KO1.
Yeah, it's a robot.
Does he have a remote control? He's got an on switch.
I don't.
Oh, there's his eyeballs.
Yeah,
He sees you.
Does.
Alrighty. Heck yeah. And then Donald Craig goes on to say the focus of this book is on the Kabbalah, of course, not on becoming a Merkabah writer. Let's see. Going on to... Yeah, okay. Going on to page 67. The final goal of the Merkabah writer was to be able to gaze upon the throne of God and upon God himself. This was no easy task, as you can see from the small amount of material I have given above. Also remember that even Moses was not allowed to view the face of God, for it was said that no mortal could gaze upon the face of God and survive. There are obvious similarities to Egyptian lore as presented in the so-called Egyptian Book of the Dead. More accurately, it's actually called the Book of Coming Forth by Day. That's interesting. Especially the idea of going through various places, hells of the Egyptian afterlife. The Egyptian hell should not be confused with the Christian idea of hell, and passing tests in order to pass safely through these nether realms. Did the Hebrews copy from the Egyptians or vice versa? Or did both come from an older source? Or perhaps both cultures, along with others such as Tibetan and Amerindian, just happened to tap into the same mystical current. Nobody knows. And this mystical current, it's actually a term that I am hearing more and more lately. Damien Eccles talks about this. It's a current that survived from Sumeria, basically. It's this, he talked a lot about Enlil at the end of the Archangel's book I just read, and how this current has been passed on through time all the way up until now, this magical current. And it is being continued to be passed on. So there's really something to that. Moving on again. Something about Neo-Platonism in here. Let's see. Within the Sefer Yetzirah, along with another work, the Bahir, they've been traced back to the earliest centuries of the Common Era. Within them are the discussions of such things as emanations from divinity bringing about the universe. This idea is known today as Neo-Platonism. However, if we assume that the Kabbalah was either brought to the Egyptians by the Hebrews, or that the Egyptians had the knowledge prior to the period of the enslavement of the Hebrews, then it might be that Neo-Platonism was a development of the Kabbalah. And there's actually an interesting note on the bottom of this page that talks about the Israelites being, or the Hebrews being, in enslavement. It says, it is unlikely that the ancient Hebrews were ever actually enslaved by the Egyptians. There's no evidence that the Egyptians ever had such forms of slavery. Wow. It is more likely that they were simply an ethnic tribe within the control of Egypt. This is brought to light even in the story of the Exodus where the Hebrews took their animals and possessions with them, and not long after melting their possessions of gold to form an idol. The concept of slavery is one where the slaves are possessions. They have nothing of their own. How could they have taken possessions, including lots of gold, when they would have had no possessions at all? It is clear that while the story of Exodus may have some factual elements, much of it is mythologized. I guess that's how you would pronounce that, is turned into mythology. Alrighty. Interesting note on Pythagoras on the same page. We're on page 67 now, if you're following along. As stated before, it is well documented that Pythagoras, who is still famous for the Pythagorean theorem, the sum of the squares of two sides of a right triangle is equal to the square of the hypotenuse, studied mysticism and was initiated into Egyptian mystery schools. It is not unlikely that he learned some early form of Kabbalah there and brought it back to his home in the Greek city-states. It is not impossible that Plato and his later followers adopted the idea of emanations as a result of studying in Pythagoras' mystery school, begun when Pythagoras returned to the Greek Isles from the Middle East. Of course, this is speculation, but based on probabilities. And yeah, that was something we were talking about. My buddy Isaac, I did a interview with him. Hopefully that'll be on his YouTube video soon, and maybe I can share it on this channel as well. I'll definitely be... his YouTube channel is Sirius Star Network, I want to say, if you want to go check him out. And then I'll probably be sharing it on Facebook as well, if any of you follow me on Facebook or are my friends on there. Okay. The question is, am I still... Sorry, I'm just trying to find what else I need to go over on this page. Here we go. As the Middle Ages developed in Europe, many locations became Kabbalistic centers, most important ones being in Spain. But in 1492, the year Columbus sailed, the Jews were expelled from Spain. It is for this reason that some people believe that Columbus, actually Cristobal Colon, was his name in Spanish, and Colon may have been a variation of Cohen, may have been Jewish, and his trip, they believe, was to find a home for the expelled Jews. Be that as it may, many of the Jews returned to the Middle East, and a large, important Kabbalistic center developed there in the city of Safed, or Savat, a town that still exists in modern Israel. So I thought that was interesting, because we learned about Christopher Columbus in school, but as we know, it's a lot of what we learned in high school about that whole story is just not true. Like, the Americas was well known before Christopher Columbus ever came here. Of course, he didn't discover the Americas. That's just crazy. All right, page 69. Interesting, the rest of the page, and then last paragraph. Could skip all that. That's not really interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's not really as, to me, important tidbit information on some of these pages, so I'm like skipping through a lot of stuff. A lot of it's just like historical stuff, like, you know, like the validity of like these teachings and how they were misinterpreted in society and stuff, but we're looking more for the esoteric tidbits. This is an interesting thing here. The possibility of real magical secrets that were holy and not satanic in nature caught the fancy of many scholars and clerics, up to and including Eliphas Levi. He was actually born Alphonse Louis Constant. Levi's most famous work, translated poorly into English, is now in print under the title Transcendental Magic. His books and teachings helped start what has been called the French occult revival of the 19th century. At that time, many occult groups began to develop in France and spread to other countries, most notably Austria, Germany, and England. Some of these groups used their occultism to support questionable ethics, leading to magical wars between occult groups in France and the evil of Nazism in Germany. So that's interesting. Looking for a second back on the lighter side of occultism, we come in England to the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, which we've talked about a lot on this channel, whose primary importance came in their taking the teachings of the Kabbalah as a basis for their occultism and uniting it with other forms of occultism, such as the magical systems, or supposed magical systems based on their sometimes incomplete knowledge of Egypt, of Enochian magic, of the magic of the Abramelin. I don't never know if I'm pronouncing that right. Abramelin, and of mysticism from India as well as other sources. Okay. So now we're on page 70. Yeah, it just seems like there's a lot of little things I was trying to get on these pages until it gets over. Yeah, the Kabbalistic source of all, that's really what I wanted to get to, because that's where things get really deep and philosophical. Page 70, Orthodox. Yeah, he's basically just talking about the difference here between like Orthodox Judaism and the Kabbalah, you know, but we pretty much, we already know that the Kabbalah is what holds, you know, the true secrets of the Jewish religion. Yeah, basically says that what he's covering in this book is a universal system of Kabbalah. You do not have to become a Jew or a Christian or pagan or follow any particular religion or belief in order to study the philosophy and magical techniques of the Kabbalah and traditional Western ceremonial magic. Okay. So he lists 4 different kinds of Kabbalah in here. The Dogmatic Kabbalah concerns the study of literatures, such as the Torah, the Sefer Yetzirah, the Bahir, Zohar, many others. The study is fascinating, but it is not the focus of this course. It's not super practical, like for those who practice ceremonial magic. So the Dogmatic Kabbalah is not a primary concern of these lessons. The Practical Kabbalah refers to the making of talismans and amulets via Kabbalistic methods. So more what would probably be gray magic, or working with, you know, physical implements such as talismans. It is the basis for Kabbalistic magic when mixed with the following 2 branches of Kabbalistic study. The methods of the Practical Kabbalah are neither good nor bad, but can be used for what might be called positive or negative purposes. Therefore, it is necessary to give you the work that will prepare you so that not only would you not have a desire to do magic for negative purposes, but so that you will understand the consequences that will result for yourself if you try to use magic for negative purposes. We've talked about that before. What's up?
What's your channel name again?
Occult. perspectives.
You dropped this.
Thanks. Oh, there I am.
Oh, that's cool. This one?
That's the actual channel, yeah. Oh, look, I got one new subscriber.
I can subscribe to you and hit.
Sweet.
Yeah, go check out his channel, guys. Oh, wait, you're already watching it. Never mind.
I'm going to go ahead and read the last paragraph here, and then I'm just going to move on to the next couple of pages and get to the more interesting stuff. When we do get into the practical Kabbalah and into gray magic, we will truly soar, nor will we be limited to the Kabbalistic methods of magic. As an example, just in dealing with talismans, we will be discussing pagan, numerological, Rosicrucian, and other systems for making these devices. Alrighty.
What was your last video that you made?
LVX.
It says this.
Oh,
And it looks like you barely even made it online.
that's weird.
That's because my phone doesn't really put out all the new things. I
That's
think it's
strange.
like a really old phone.
Huh. Yeah, it just doesn't show you all my videos.
And it doesn't show anybody else's new videos either.
That's weird.
But it still shows all that, like, Squid Game stuff or whatever.
Actually, I
And that's a
think,
new
Christopher,
stuff.
we're already at 32 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. This was a good video to go ahead and get rid of all the material that goes up until... we'll be talking about the Kabbalistic source of all things next time. So that's where things get a little more interesting. We'll talk about the 3 negative veils of existence above the tree of life and how the Sephirot correspond to each other and all that. We'll get into deeper philosophical discussion on that. If that ends up being the next video I do, I might go to a different topic or something.
How old is this?
No idea.
It was back here.
Did you want to say bye? We're about to tune off or jump off of here, so let's check out
Rock.
Thoth real quick. Yeah, Christopher got me all these little green stones up here next to our Thoth statue. Alrighty, well, we're gonna jump off of here, so say bye, Chris.
Bye. You should go check out Gravity Falls, and it has this weird Illuminati guy, but his name's Bill Cyphers.
Oh dang, he said the word Illuminati.
Yeah.
Alright, peace and love everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Blessings.